Hello dear traders, it's Petko Alexandrov and I decided to add one more lecture to the course because there were a few more setups for the system during the recent days and it really happened too quick with the Bitcoin. It went above 12,000 just for a couple of days and I was not planning to record more examples because I don't want really to make the course really long. I really hope that you have understood the system, but I decided to add one more lecture where I will go briefly through the setups that were during the last days and just show you what I traded. So here was the setup from the course right over here. Here was the failure of the recent low, the cross of the EMAs, the break of the counter trend line, the break of this recent high, and then the price continued higher. All of the three trades were profitable. I took one with the envelope, the next one I took on the second Fibonacci target, and then with the third one I was trading the stop loss, and at the same time I used the next Fibonacci, which actually currently is much bigger because the price continued higher, so I had to fix it and redraw it. Let me show you where exactly it is. Price hits and then the end of this move is right over here, so this Fibonacci got much bigger. Okay, now what happened then? The price had a pullback right over here, and here I didn't really see a nice setup to enter into the trade. I'm talking about this zone over here. Let me take one. Now you can see this candle is a little bit higher than this one, so if I had to draw a counter trend line, let me just show you, it's something like that. Okay, and even drawn like that, you see there is no failure of the recent low. So there is a low and then we have a lower low, so there is no failure of the recent low during this period of time. I just waited for another counter trend line, another opportunity, which came a little bit after that right over here. This was a great counter trend line. So you can see here we have a higher high than this one, and then I had it first over here. Okay, over this candle, over this high, but you can see that this moment there was no failure of the recent low. Let me just show you. The price goes down, I had my counter trend line, I had the break of it, but here I don't have failure of the recent low. However, the failure came just few hours later right over here, so I had to move the counter trend line. And at the same time I had one horizontal line on the previous bar which I used as the recent high. So you can see there is a series of lower highs and lower lows, so I'm waiting for the failure of the low, and you can see there is a failure of the recent low over here. Let me just zoom it to show it to you. The price fails to take this low, very close to it, but it's still a little bit higher. Okay, probably I will need to zoom it more so you will see the difference. Okay, here is the low. You can see that this red candle, the spike below the candle, it is just a little bit above this one over here, which for me is a great failure. Very close to it, could be accepted as a double bottom if you want. Even I'm not a fan of these old patterns. And then what happened? The price broke aggressively. Okay, you can see impulsive break actually of the counter trend line and the recent high with one candle. Okay, so this is really the impulsive break. This is what I'm looking for. Impulsive break of the price. It breaks the counter trend line and it breaks this recent high, and at the same time it closes on extreme. On the break of the counter trend line I have entered with 33.3%. Then on the break of the recent high I have entered the 50%. And here interesting is that the EMA cross came later. Okay, so the 16.6% came after the other two entries, right at the opening of this bar. Let me just move it back. Okay, so here what happened? The price broke. I entered two times here. The EMAs were not crossed and then they crossed over here. So I entered on the opening of this bar with a 16.6. Now obviously the stop loss was below these recent lows. Now I could have kept them here, but that's quite a huge distance. So if this low here was closer to those, probably I would have placed it just below it, but This is a huge distance, okay? I didn't want to give such a huge stop loss, so I have placed it below here. It's below the 9,000 of a round number, which is great. So my stop loss was at 8,940, okay, below the 950 round number. And then what happened? The price continued higher. I had the envelope, of course, to take the profit of the 33.3%. And let me just place it over the chart. I just remove it when I'm not using it because I really want to keep my chart more simple. And here it is, the envelope. It's quite huge by default. Let me just change it very quickly. So we said that for the envelope we are using the inputs of length of 5 and percent of 1. And then for style here I have used green. Here it is. Let me check one more time. Okay, it didn't change, so it's length of 5% of 1. Okay, here it is. And what happened? You can see that the price here was very close to the envelope. However, on this candle there was a touch, so I have taken the profit here. This is the profit from the break of the counter trend line, right at 33.3%. Let me remove now again the envelope so it will not mess too much the chart. And then the price just continued higher. My stop loss was trailing behind. You can see here we have the higher low confirmed when the price broke this high. So my stop loss came here, then it came here, and then it was really hard to trail it because the price just went straight up. It went above 10,000 actually, right over here with this huge candle. So this is what I'm talking about, the round numbers. Okay, they really matter. You can see how the price goes towards the 10,000, and the moment it broke the 10,000 right at this candle, it just went like a rocket up. Okay, you can see what is the difference here. The price is climbing. Once the 10,000 is broken, it just went straight up with over $700 just for 3-4 hours. Okay, however, my take profit, the second take profit that I have from the previous Fibonacci, so this one was still not available at this moment. Okay, I didn't have this Fibonacci at this moment. I had only this one. The second take profit was at 10,464 is the price, and I had the take profit at 10,440. Okay, again below the 50. Even the price went higher. This was really a great move that I got here, and this was the take profit of the 50% of my position. And then my stop loss over here, let me have a look one more time, and let me just zoom to see exactly where was the stop loss. Okay, here it is. Alright, so it was first below these two lows where was the entry, then it came over here, then it came over here, then it came over here. You can see this low once this stop was confirmed, and then I really didn't have a place to trail the stop loss, so for the rest two positions I kept it here. This trade was closed, the 50% was closed at about here, and I had the last one with the 16.6% remaining, and the stop loss was still right here. Then you can see what happened. We had this high, and then we had this high as well, and here I had a low. The price here failed to take this high, which gave me another opportunity of a counter trend line, but I moved my stop loss for the last position over here below this low just when this high was broken, and it was broken at this moment right over here from the spike of this candlestick. And actually when it was broken I have moved it below this low and then below this low when this high was broken, when the price continued higher. So I kept this last trade for much longer, and it's actually still open. Now my stop loss is below this recent low. You can see above I don't have another higher low to move it. So the price during the night reached nearly 13,000. You can see again the round number matters. It bounced from 12,960, something like that. Couldn't reach 13,000, and my stop loss for this last trade is still here. Of course, if the price reverses down to 11,000, actually it's below 11,000 as it's a round number. It is at 10,990 right over here, but I consider it below this low. And if the price forms another high, then I will move it probably over here. So if this 13,000 is broken, I will move the stop loss right over here. And I have the very same thing for the 3 new trades that were opened. Okay, so here at this counter trend line, I had another setup. Okay, while I had my last trade remaining, I had another setup and I used it. You can see here I have a counter trend line. The price failed to take the low. It is like really perfect situation for my system. The price fails to take the low. We have an impulsive break. Even it didn't close really on extreme. You can see that there was a small spike, but still it's a long candle, crosses the counter trend line, and here I had the entry. Now after that the price just retested the counter trend line, continued higher. The cross of the exponential moving averages happened at this candle over here, and on the opening of the next one the cross was confirmed, and here was the 16.6, so the 33.3 was here with the break of the counter trend line, and on the opening of the next one I had the 16.6 because of the cross of the EMAs. And then over here somehow the line disappeared. Let me just draw it again so you will see it. Okay, it's right over here. This is the most recent high. On the break of it, you can see again impulsive break. This is exactly what I'm looking for, impulsive breaks. I had the 50% of the position. So my stop loss was initially below this low. Then when this high was broken, it moved over here below this low. Then when the price continued higher, when it reached the highs, I trailed it over here, and then it is on the same place as I showed to you for the other trade, right over here below the 11,000, okay, below this low. Once again, I have moved the stop loss here after this high was broken, so we have a confirmed higher low. Sorry guys, I have repeated so many times during the course, but I really want to make this clear, and this is why I decided to record this lecture, to show you some more of the recent setups that I had with this trading system. Alright, so let me show you once again where was the take profit, and I will start with the envelope. Let me just make it quickly. As I said, I'm using length of 5% of 1. I click on OK. I didn't make it green. Let me make it green so it will be more visual. Okay, so I make the upper and lower envelopes green. Here it is, and you can see right over here I had the entries and the exit was really quick. Actually, the break of the recent high where I had the 50% went straight out of the envelope, and this is because really we have impulsive moves from the Bitcoin recently. So this trade was pretty quick, the 33.3%, but you can see where was my 50%, the biggest trade, this one over here that breaks. It was on the second fib at 12,190. Okay, 12,207.86 is the second fib with 161.8, but I have placed the limit at 12,190, again below the round number of 12,200. It's right over here from 10,900 up to 12,200. And then with the last 16.6, which actually here again came after the break of the counter trend line. So in this case it was the break of the counter trend line, the cross of the EMAs, and then the 50% trade, which is the break of this recent high, which is still opened. So I have two trades open with 16.6%, and the stop loss is here for both of them, and the price now is at 12,640. I will see what will happen if it breaks the 13,000. I will move the stop loss below this low that was just formed during the previous hour at about 12,340. I am planning to place it below 12,300, so it will be at 12,290. Okay, but one more time, I will trail it up to here once this high is broken. Alright, so this was a little bit longer lecture, but I wanted to share with you my other two setups that I had with the system. The Bitcoin is really going up and it's a great opportunity to use it. The most important thing is to stay strict with the strategy you follow. No matter this one or any other, I stay really strict with the system because I don't know what will happen in the next moment. And the most important thing in times like that, when the price just goes upwards and it gives us great opportunities, is to learn to take the profit. Okay, don't be afraid to place a limit and to take your profit. I have hundreds and thousands of students already. Many of those shared with me when the price of the Bitcoin last year reached 19,000. They were keeping their trades, hoping it will go more, and they didn't take any profit. Then the Bitcoin just crashed together with all the cryptocurrencies. Many people lost their money and savings. They just panicked and they closed the trades on losses. So they took the Bitcoin at a good price, hold it for some times, but because they were hoping to get more and more profit, at the end many people closed the trades and sold the Bitcoins on a loss. Okay, because they panicked that they will lose all their savings. So what I really want to teach you with this course and with this system is to learn to take your profit. Keep something in mind, you are not going to lose if you take profit. Place your limits, doesn't matter with this system or anything else. If you use the Fibonacci or some envelope or anything what you want to use, or the round numbers, if you take profit and you make some profit in your account, you will not lose from that. Okay, of course it will happen that the price will continue higher, as you saw with my examples. I could have made much more if I have kept all of these trades till the moment, but of course I don't know if the price will go more upwards. No expectations, no hope, no feelings. I follow the system really strictly. I have very precise entries and exits with the counter trend line, with the recent high, and I have my levels where I take the profit. And at the end, in my live accounts, I did some really great profit. But if you're really a beginner trader, I don't suggest you to risk on the live account. Test it always on a demo. Practice first, make sure you are confident with the system and you know the details. Of course, you're very welcome to change anything which you think will be better for you and you will feel comfortable with it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Cheers!